Not for the faint of heart, the 10 most dangerous hiking trails in the world will test your nerves, push your boundaries, and provide quite an adrenaline rush along the way. If you're looking for a relaxing walk in the woods, these aren't the hikes for you. But if you're in need of some serious adventure, any one of these routes will give you everything you could ask for and probably a whole lot more. Number 10. Long's Peak, United States. Long's Peak, that reaches 14,000 feet in elevation. Not surprisingly, it's the highest peak in Rocky Mountain National Park, and the one most sought after by hiking and climbing enthusiasts. The most popular route to the summit is the Keyhole route, which is only a true hike from about July to September. The rest of the year, ascending the peak requires full-on mountaineering gear due to snow and ice. The 8-mile Keyhole route, 16 miles round trip, is a Class 3 climb. Those who attempt to hike it can expect to do significant maneuvering over slick rocks and sheer granite faces, as well as enduring an elevation change of 5,000 feet from the trailhead. Number 9. Half Dome, California. In a park full of challenging hikes, Half Dome is undoubtedly the toughest one. During the 16-mile hike, you'll ascend over 4,500 feet to nearly 9,000 feet above sea level. If the rugged trail up the granite mountain weren't hazardous enough on its own, the last 400 feet to the summit requires using a vertical cable trail to scale the dome's slippery face. In addition, the peak frequently hosts afternoon thunderstorms. Almost as many hikers have died from lightning strikes as falls. The only thing more electrifying than the weather is the scenery from the top. Here's what you'll need for this climb: extremely grippy shoes, extremely grippy gloves, plenty of water and food, sunscreen, and a permit to climb the cable trail. Permits are distributed by lottery 2 days in advance, so be sure to apply early. The cable trail is only open during the summer months, from mid-May to October, depending on the weather. Number 8. Puena Pichu, Peru. The first clue that Peru's Puena Pichu Trail is dangerous is that it is often referred to as the Hike of Death. That's because it often claims a few lives each year, particularly among tourists who risk its steep ascent without wearing the proper footwear. The route gets extremely slick when it's wet too, prompting it to be routinely closed during the rainy season. To make the hike even more treacherous, much of the trail is crumbling away, so it is rather difficult to keep your footing on the way up and down. Number 7. The Maze, USA. The maze, as its name implies, the maze is made up of a series of interconnecting canyons that are incredibly easy to get lost and disoriented in. Many of the 2,000 annual visitors that hike this route become turned around, frequently running into dead ends and finding it difficult to navigate through the narrow passageways. The remote nature of the trail, located inside Canyonlands National Park, also makes it a challenge to find. While it is in a beautiful location, the maze's confusing structure means hikers have to be rescued from the labyrinth on a regular basis. Number 6. Kalimantan Durg, India. The trek to the top of the Kalimantan Durg is considered one of the most challenging ones in the Western Ghats, India. The summit is accessible via a 3 km hike from the Thakurwadi village. After the hike route diverges into 2 paths, the shorter one towards Kalimantan Durg, and the longer one towards Prabalgat Fort. The route to the Kalimantan top is a roughly 60-degree incline, and involves climbing rock-cut steps that are as high as 2 feet. It's highly exposed, without any railings, which makes this a really thrilling experience, and is not recommended for beginners. If you're an experienced hiker, you can complete both of the hikes in one day. Number 5. Angel's Landing, USA. One of the most popular trails inside Zion National Park, much of the 2.5-mile-long Angel's Landing isn't particularly scary. As hikers near the final half-mile, though, they can choose to press towards Scout Lookout. Proceeding forward means walking a steep and narrow ridge with dangerous drop-offs on either side. A set of chains have been anchored into the path to provide a bit of support, but even with those in place, it can be frightening to navigate. Those who do make it out to the lookout are rewarded with some of the most spectacular scenery imaginable. Number 4. Tagia, Morocco. Tagia is a remote village located high up on the Atlas Mountains in central Morocco, and is a paradise for mountain climbers. Hike up to this village is very steep, and can prove to be really strenuous for anyone who is not used to it. Beautiful locations with a lot of greenery acts as the major draw in this trail. Added to this are amazing views of the valley below, which is cut off by waterfalls in numerous places. Number 3. Via Ferrata, Italy and Austria. One of the greatest thrills a hiker can have is to walk or climb a Via Ferrata, the iron paths of the Dolomites in Italy. Traveling on a Via Ferrata is a different way of enjoying the sheer magnificence of the Dolomites, providing access to places normally reserved for rock climbers and mountaineers. In this awesome mountain environment, you will be stopped in your tracks by amazing views from a perspective that few have the opportunity to experience. If you are not afraid of heights and want to experience the majestic Dolomites in a different way, then Via Ferrata climbing is for you. The cables and ladders provide protection, so the non-experienced climber can ascend or traverse through these beautiful mountains safely. Number 2. El Caminito del Rey, Spain. An easy contender for the most dangerous hike in the world, the King's Little Pathway started out as a series of walkways through the El Chorro Gorge for employees of a nearby hydroelectric plant. Years of neglect, however, have turned these 3-foot-wide paths into crumbling concrete barely supported by rusty beams. Though safety wire runs the length of the 2-mile trail, it is anything but safe. If you go, prepare to cross 10-foot-wide gaps in the walkway, and test your balance on single beams jutting out 350 feet above the El Chorro River. You won't need much gear for this hike, but rock climbing skills are essential. The Spanish government has plans to renovate the trail in the future to make it safer and more accessible to casual hikers. Number 1. Mount Huangshan, China. China's Mount Huangshan has lured pilgrims for centuries, with only the bravest rewarded entry into the ancient temples at its summit. Since a large portion of the plank walk consists of narrow, wooden boards attached to the side of the mountain, hikers walk precariously along the route, holding onto rusty chains as they go. In some sections, the boardwalk disappears altogether, only shallow foot supports, carved into the rock, take their place. This is as scary as it gets, particularly if you happen to be afraid of heights.